has got a powerful message for younger people in his new book. He says, stand up for what you believe in. Now, this comes almost 7 years after the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback started taking a knee during the national anthem to protest racial injustice and police brutality. His new young adult book is called Colin Kaepernick, Change the Game. Details of his coming-of-age journey and his introduction to activism in high school. Adriana Diaz sat down with Kaepernick at a Chicago bookstore for his only TV interview about this book.
Please welcome Colin Kaepernick.
The off-season for Colin Kaepernick looks much different these days. The 35-year-old has a nonprofit.
You're already creating community.
Empowering Black and brown youth, a publishing company, and media projects, including a docuseries on Netflix and an upcoming documentary with director Spike Lee. He's also a new father who's spreading a message of empowerment in his new graphic novel, Change the Game, written with author and University of Chicago professor Eve L. Ewing.
I love how you depict yourself in this book, not as some big shot hero, but as a shy, insecure high schooler like we all were. I mean, I'm speaking for you, but...
no, absolutely.
Growing up, I think still am a pretty introverted person. I hope it's true to form. Mm-hmm. And
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nasir, and this is what we have on tap for you today, folks. Colin Kaepernick trying to reinvent himself, being the victim again. And if you're wondering what it took so long and that noise that you might have been hearing in the background, that was me actually throwing up in the toilet bowl because of the verbal diarrhea that was coming out of Colin Kaepernick's mouth. We're going to get to all that in the next few seconds, folks. But if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let's get back and let's just hear again in Colin's own words how much of a shy, introverted boy he was. Okay, and he wasn't the big-time hero back then. He was just a shy little boy back in high school. Let's go over those words one more time.
it's just kind of how I navigate the world.
In this book, not as some big shot hero, but as a shy, insecure high schooler like we all were. I mean, I'm speaking for you, but...
absolutely.
Growing up, I think still am a pretty introverted person. I hope it's true to form, and that's just kind of how I navigate the world.
It's his true high school coming-of-age story, his journey embracing his Blackness, despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents loved me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
It's called growing up in a home, you idiot. It's not called racism or any kind of ism, unless you want to call it familyism. That's what that is. I mean, this is unfreaking believable. This is unfreaking. He literally is throwing his parents under the freaking bus. That's what he's doing. Let's go back, folks. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it one more time again. I'd like to hear it one more time coming from his mouth. Let's hear it.
I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his Blackness like a suit of armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted cornrows to match. He's getting what roles, his mom asked?
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look like a little thug.
Your mom said that to you.
Yeah. And those become spaces where it's like...
Those become spaces where you just have to cry as a young boy because your mom called you a thug. I call liar, freaking your damn pants are on fire. Your mom never said those words. You just put that in there. You're lying through your teeth, and you're throwing your parents, who basically gave you a life to live. Your parents, your adoptive parents, calling you out here, bruh. You hear me, bruh? I'm calling you out. You're a liar, bruh. You are an absolute liar, and you're throwing your parents underneath the freaking bus. You ought to be freaking ashamed of yourself. There's a word for that. It's called an ingrate. Colin the ingrate Kaepernick. That's what we're going to call you from now on. And that's being kind. Your adoptive parents, they might have not given you life, Colin the ingrate, but they gave your life, guess what? A place to live. They gave your life a home to live in. They gave your life love to be in. They gave your life parents to be. And you have the nerve, the audacity to get money so you can basically throw your parents under the bus. You ought to be freaking ashamed of yourself, you freaking ingrate.
Okay, how do I navigate this situation now? But it also has informed why I have my hair long today.
The grown-up version of Eve wanted to go back in time and give young Colin a lot of hugs. And I was really moved and saddened by the level of kind of self-awareness that he had to develop at a very young age without a lot of guidance.
The former NFL quarterback who once led the 49ers to the Super Bowl was known in high school for his baseball. The pitcher even had major league interest, but he bucked public pressure and followed his heart to the gridiron.
There were a lot more black people in football that I was like, I found some community here.
Do you still want to play football professionally?
Absolutely.
Do you still want to play professionally? Do you really want to play professional football still?
I woke up this morning before our events, trained 5-6 days a week. Still up at 4:30. I go get my training in. That passion is still there, and the ability is still there.
The ability is not there. You're such a freaking liar. Anybody that would throw his parents under the bus, claim his parents are white supremacist, racist bigots, basically, that's what I heard. You know what? Hey, that's the feeling I got. It's all about feelings, right? That's what everybody said. It's all about feelings. So my feeling is that, Colin's calling his parents white supremacists. They're part of the Ku Klux Klan. That's right. They adopted a black baby. That's what they did. And this whole charade of yours that you're practicing, that you still have the passion is, maybe the passion is there. But as far as, the ability, oh my goodness, Warren Sapp said that when you tried out for the Los Angeles Raiders, it was one of the worst exhibitions of a quarterback ever, Colin, ever. Oh my goodness, don't you lie to her. You're getting no pushback. Of course, why would they push back? Training 4 to 5 days a week. Liar.
Hasn't played professionally since the 2016-2017 season.
Good.
And this single gesture sparked both solidarity and outrage.
Why did you choose that day and to protest in that way?
That's actually something we're going to dive deep into with the doc that's coming this fall. But as it relates to the book, people may look at that moment and be like, oh, you must have been this person all along. And it's like, no, there's growth that has to happen.
Will you continue to sit?
Yes.
Then Kaepernick couldn't get hired and even sued the NFL for collusion in a case that settled.
Are you talking to any teams?
We reach out to all 32 teams every year throughout the year because my biggest thing is just let me get on the field. If I'm not good enough, cut me. But give me the chance to show you what I can do.
They did give you a chance there, the Los Angeles Raiders, okay? They did cut you because you can't do anything. You suck. You basically suck. You had some talent in the beginning. You know what? But you blew it. So screw it. You can't do it.
In 2019, the NFL organized a workout for you in hopes of getting you hired. You chose not to go to their workout. You held your own workout. What do you say to people who argue that the NFL did give you a shot?
That's another great question that will be covered in the doc.
In 2020, what did it feel like for you
Say his name, George Floyd.
to see everyone almost wake up?
Another great question that will be covered later this year.
Colin, I got a lot of great questions.
I appreciate the
Not a perfect
thoughtfulness.
documentary.
I won't speak for Colin, but I think that in thinking about what impact looks like, it's so much bigger than changing one system or one league. What does it mean for all of us to be faced, as we invariably are, with really tough decisions about what it means to do good in the world? And how do we inspire one another to make different decisions when that time arises?
For their next chapters, Ewing is writing the next Black Panther comic.
I like real-life superheroes and pretend superheroes.
Do you consider the man next to you a real-life superhero?
The thing about superpowers is you got to keep them secret.
part of the goal in telling the story is, no, take pride in your blackness, take pride in your culture. My hope is young people and readers walk away and they seize their power.
When y'all are in that position, you have the opportunity to change things.
Kaepernick's story continues with his advocacy and trying to return to the NFL.
Colin, what is it like for you all these years later to be pushing and still not getting a yes?
Very similar to the messaging of the book is, I don't have control over all of these situations, but I control how I respond to it. I control how I prepare for it. I'm a believer that in doing that, good things will happen.
For CBS Mornings, Adriana Diaz, Chicago.
I mean, folks, this whole thing is just a reinvention. This is what he has to do. He's got to reinvent himself. This documentary is coming out, right? I think it's a Spike Lee one or whatever, with the Netflix documentary. And, look, anytime somebody puts their own documentary out there, gets somebody of the notoriety and the fame of a Spike Lee as a director, it's going to cause some buzz. Throw Colin Kaepernick's name inside there, you increase that buzz a little bit. And it's for that time period, that 15 minutes of fame. But in order to get that buzz around there, you got to start with some kindling. You know how when you go to do a campfire, you don't throw the big logs on there first or whatever. You're going to snuff everything out. Got to start with the kindling. Light that up a little bit. Then you got to add a little bit more, stoke it a little bit, blow some air on it, right? Then you start putting on some, small logs. Then you get the medium logs. Once you get that thing nice and going and whatever, and it's really, starting to, fire up basically, now you start putting on the big logs in there. Now what can you do? You don't have to place it gently inside there. You can get it inside there and throw it inside there, right? And it's just going to engulf it. That's exactly what's going on over here. So what was the big thing that came out of this? He needed something, folks. He needed a lie, the big lie. He's already perpetuated these lies in the past about all this victimhood. And he's found out one thing. You play the victim card here, man, can you make a ton of money. Oh my goodness, you can bring in so many dollars. You play that wokeness, you play that victim card. You get power, you get fame, you get notoriety, you get called to all the big companies and woke corporations. You get, sponsorships, you get charitable donations, you get on board of charities. But the other thing that you find out too, is that with doing this thing here, in order to get that notoriety, he needed something that would just start to, percolate, vibrate within the media. And what better way than say that my white parents were racist and bigoted? And you know what? It was a bad upbringing. I would have probably much rather been brought up okay by my mother who let me go and my father, my father who just left. That would have been so much better for your life. Well, we end this basically by saying, this is the story of Colin, the ingrate Kaepernick. Folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host, Dr. Nasir. My final point is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.